Sometimes, the truth is harder to grasp than the fiction we imagine. In a sleepy American town where the streets were meant to be safe, something shattered that illusion. Something so baffling it forced investigators to question everything they thought they knew about violence, justice, and evil. Was it a mass shooting? A terrifying act of indiscriminate destruction? Or something far darker, far more sinister? A serial killer hiding in plain sight? Stick with me, because what we uncovered will change how you see crime forever. And trust me, you won't see the ending coming. But before we dive in, quick question. Have you ever accidentally waved back at someone who wasn't actually waving at you? No? Just me? Alright, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss the twists coming up. Now, let's set the scene. On a chilly autumn afternoon in late October 2018, the small town of Cedar Hollow, nestled in rural Pennsylvania, felt like a place paused in time. Trees blazed in fiery reds and golds, and the scent of pumpkin spice mingled with the crisp air. Life moved at a steady, gentle rhythm. At the local diner, Maggie's Place, regulars sipped coffee and exchanged small talk over scratchy vinyl booths. There was Frank, the retired firefighter with a toothy grin, knitting a sweater for his granddaughter. Across the counter, Jessica, a high school English teacher, quietly graded papers, humming to herself. No one noticed the subtle undercurrent of unease just beneath the surface, a strange tension that wasn't quite visible, but somehow felt in the way the kids at the high school whispered a little too quickly when adults passed by. At 3:15 p.m., that fragile calm was violently shattered. Police dispatch received frantic calls from a cluster of homes on Maple Street, the quietest cul-de-sac in Cedar Hollow. Reports of gunfire, dozens of shots fired in rapid succession. When officers arrived, they found chaos. Shattered windows, scorched walls, terrified neighbors hiding behind locked doors. 6 people lay dead, including 2 teenagers. Another 4 were rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Media dubbed it the Maple Street Massacre, a devastating, senseless act of mass violence that would haunt the town forever. But as the investigation began, cracks appeared in the official story. The initial narrative was straightforward. A lone gunman, wielding a semi-automatic rifle, opened fire at random, then vanished into the night. Yet witnesses told wildly inconsistent stories. Some swore the shooter was a young man with dark hair and a baseball cap. Others insisted it was an older man wearing a leather jacket. No clear motive emerged. No signs of forced entry. No connection between victims, who ranged from the local librarian to a pizza delivery driver. Even more puzzling, forensic teams found only one set of fingerprints on the weapon, but multiple shell casings from different calibers scattered around. How could one shooter have used different guns? Or were there multiple shooters after all? The town was gripped by confusion. If your detective skills are sharper than a butter knife, drop your theories in the comments below. Was this a chaotic mass shooting or a carefully staged crime scene? And hey, don't forget to subscribe for the wild ride ahead. This story's only getting stranger. Months into the investigation, a seasoned detective named Marcus Reed began digging deeper. He noticed a chilling pattern when he compared the Maple Street shooting to 5 other shootings across nearby counties over the previous year. Each attack happened on a Tuesday afternoon, between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Each left an odd mix of victims, no clear pattern or connection, but always a similar number of casualties. And each scene had subtle signatures. A single playing card left on site, the Queen of Spades. It was a calling card, a hallmark of a serial killer, not a random mass shooter. Reed pushed the team to reclassify the case, but faced resistance. It doesn't fit, the lead prosecutor insisted. We have one crime scene, one shooter, one weapon, but Reed's instincts screamed otherwise. Late one night, Reed reviewed footage from a nearby gas station. He caught a glimpse of a figure, face obscured by shadows, calmly walking away from the scene minutes after the first shots. But security cameras from another gas station 10 miles away recorded a different person, this one wearing a hoodie with a distinct tattoo on the wrist. No witness saw both men together. 2 shooters? Or a master manipulator planting false trails? The town held its breath. Then came the bombshell. Forensic analysts discovered that all the victims were connected by a hidden thread. They were all informants or witnesses in cold cases Reed had worked on over the years. The random mass shootings were targeted assassinations, designed to look like chaotic rampages. One man, a lone killer operating under the guise of a mass shooter, was eliminating threats to his freedom. The killer was not a shadowy gang or an unstable loner. He was a former detective, fired for misconduct but never fully investigated. A man with intimate knowledge of investigations, evidence handling, and the art of deception. Crazy, right? A killer hiding behind the badge of law enforcement. Who saw that coming? If you're as stunned as I am, hit that like button like it's the last piece of pizza at a party. And share this story with someone who loves a good mystery. Detective Marcus Reed led the manhunt for the ex-cop, dubbed the Phantom Shooter. He was slippery, a ghost in the system. He used insider knowledge to stay one step ahead, changing weapons, altering crime scenes, and using innocent civilians as cover. Cedar Hollow's residents were gripped by fear and paranoia. Could the friendly neighbor be the killer? The local barista? Or worse, the man who swore to protect them? Just when Reed thought he had the killer cornered, in a rundown warehouse on the outskirts of town, he found the place empty. But on a dusty desk lay a meticulously detailed journal. Inside, the killer confessed not only to the shootings but revealed a twisted motive, a personal vendetta against a powerful network of corrupt officials who had ruined his career. His rampage was revenge, justice by his own hands. And the final entry, a chilling note: "They think I'm done. They're wrong." The man was still out there. Cedar Hollow breathed a fragile sigh of relief, but the shadow lingered. One killer, hidden behind a mask of chaos and confusion. An evil disguised as random violence, tearing through a community. And the question remained, how many more lives would he claim before justice truly caught up? The case wasn't over, not by a long shot. If you want to uncover the full truth behind the Phantom Shooter, join me, where we dive into the chilling investigations, narrow down suspects, and uncover secrets some wanted to stay buried. Hit subscribe now because this story is far from finished. And while you wait, check out our playlist of other mind-bending true crime tales, because sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. Welcome back. If you thought the first chapter was confusing, you're about to see how a web of lies, cover-ups, and desperation spun itself even tighter. In part 1, we met Cedar Hollow, a town shattered by what seemed like a mass shooting, but that was actually something far more calculated. A serial killer using chaos as a mask. The Phantom Shooter was not just hunting victims. He was waging a secret war. But the real story, it was still hidden beneath layers of deception. Let's dig deeper. The journal discovered in the empty warehouse wasn't just a confession. It was a manifesto. Pages upon pages detailed the killer's personal descent. From a decorated detective to a man destroyed by corruption and betrayal. He named names, high-ranking officials, shady businessmen, and crooked colleagues, all part of a shadow network that crushed anyone who threatened their power. Every killing was meant to silence a witness or send a message. But more chillingly, he believed himself a vigilante, a self-appointed arbiter of justice. This man was no mere murderer. He was a broken idealist consumed by rage. Marcus Reed knew this case was bigger than a serial killer. It was a political earthquake waiting to explode. But the deeper he dug, the more resistance he faced. Internal affairs began scrutinizing Reed's methods. Surveillance was placed on him. Whispers of overreach and leaking confidential information floated in the corridors. Then, key witnesses suddenly recanted their statements, claiming intimidation. One informant disappeared without a trace. Reed realized the killer wasn't the only one hiding in the shadows. Someone was pulling strings from behind the scenes. Cedar Hollow's tight-knit community began fracturing under the weight of fear and suspicion. Neighbors turned against neighbors. Rumors spread like wildfire. Who was protecting the Phantom Shooter? Who was compromised? Community meetings erupted into heated arguments. Jessica, the teacher from the diner, organized a vigil for the victims. But even there, faces twisted in mistrust. Frank, the retired firefighter, spoke quietly in a corner, This town's never been the same. If you're still with me, and your heart's pounding, take a moment to breathe. This story is as much about a town soul as it is about a killer. If you think you can spot the puppet master, drop your theories below, and remember to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Trust me, it's gonna blow your mind. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A young tech was named Lila, who had volunteered to assist the police with digital forensics. She discovered encrypted communications hidden within innocuous emails between supposed allies. The messages referenced Operation Queen, a covert plan to manipulate investigations and cover tracks. It pointed to a group within the police department itself. Marcus Reed was stunned. The conspiracy was not just external corruption. It was inside the system he trusted. He confronted his superiors, only to be met with silence. Just as Reed prepared to expose the conspiracy, another shooting rocked Cedar Hollow. But this time, it was different. The location, the courthouse parking lot. The victims, two high-profile witnesses scheduled to testify against corrupt officials. The killer left a chilling signature, a playing card pinned to the victims, the Queen of Spades. The message was clear. The phantom shooter was escalating, and this time no one was safe. Reed's investigation zeroed in on a small, elite group within the force, officers with ties to political figures and suspicious financial records. But proving their guilt was a labyrinth of dead ends and red tape. Meanwhile, the phantom shooter's journal hinted at one final act, a masterstroke that would reveal the truth to the world, no matter the cost. Behind the headlines and investigations, the toll on Reed was crushing. Sleepless nights, haunted dreams, friends lost to fear and betrayal. Jessica, the teacher, reached out, offering quiet support, a reminder of the community's shattered innocence. But even she was growing afraid. Then the unthinkable happened. Reed received an anonymous tip, a photograph of a familiar face, standing in the shadows at the scene of the latest shooting. But the face was his own. A carefully doctored image framed Marcus Reed as the phantom shooter. His world flipped upside down. Was the hunter now the hunted? Had the real puppet masters set him up as the fall guy? As sirens blared in the distance, Reed realized the true nightmare was just beginning. What would you do if the line between justice and guilt blurred, and your name was smeared in blood you didn't spill? Join me, where secrets unravel, loyalties fracture, and the true identity of the phantom shooter might finally be revealed. Subscribe now, hit the bell icon, and prepare yourself. This story is far from over. You've followed the twisted trail from a town shattered by a massacre, through layers of conspiracy, betrayal, and fear. You stood with Detective Marcus Reed as he hunted the phantom shooter, the shadowy figure whose calculated violence hid behind chaos. And now, the final chapter, when truth breaks free from the darkness. After the damning photograph surfaced, painting Reed as the prime suspect, everything changed. He was suspended from duty, isolated by colleagues who whispered doubt, and hounded by the media. But Reed never stopped investigating, using a covert network of trusted allies, including Lila, the tech whiz, and Jessica, the brave teacher. Reed worked behind the scenes to clear his name. Lila cracked deeper into the encrypted communications. New evidence emerged, GPS data secretly gathered from the phantom shooter's movements, linked to a single source. Reed's team cross-referenced the data with personnel records and uncovered a shocking truth. The killer was a man no one suspected, one of Reed's closest colleagues, Detective Alan Crane, a man who had helped coordinate the investigations, yet secretly manipulated the evidence, moved weapons, and silenced witnesses. Crane's flawless facade masked a cold, calculating mind, a man who twisted his badge into a weapon of terror. In a tense midnight operation, Reed and a small task force moved to apprehend Crane at a secluded cabin deep in the Pennsylvania woods. The atmosphere was thick with cold and dread. Inside, they found a chilling scene. Walls covered in maps, victim photos, and cryptic notes. Playing cards scattered on the floor, the Queen of Spades, of course. Crane did not resist. Calm, collected, he confessed. He believed the justice system was corrupt beyond repair. that the law was a game played by the powerful, crushing the innocent. His shootings were cleansing acts, purges to eliminate those he deemed corrupt, even if it meant innocent lives. The trial was swift and brutal. The town of Cedar Hollow watched as a trusted detective was unmasked as the phantom shooter, the architect of their nightmares. Families mourned, scars healed slowly, and the community began to rebuild. Wary but determined, Detective Marcus Reed was reinstated, though forever changed by the experience. Jessica continued teaching, turning her grief into activism for victims of violence. Lila's work helped reform police digital forensics across the state. This case exposed more than a killer. It revealed fractures in a system meant to protect. How often do those sworn to serve become the ones we must fear? How many shadows hide behind badges and uniforms? Cedar Hollow's tragedy is a stark reminder. Vigilance is never optional. Thank you for joining me on this journey through one of the most confusing, haunting cases in recent memory. If you found this story gripping, share it with friends who love true crime and justice served cold. Subscribe and ring the bell for more stories that challenge what you think you know. Because sometimes, the darkest secrets are the ones closest to home. And remember, in the search for truth, no stone should be left unturned.